Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Guys, we got a lot to talk about today with the Florida Panthers. Guys, this is a team that has gone through a little bit of turmoil to start the season. The expectations were high. They kind of met those expectations through the first half a dozen games, and then all of a sudden, that turmoil hits, and they've found a way to do what they have to do. And we'll go over that in today's video. So, the Florida Panthers start the season, and going into the season, everybody had them very highly regarded, including myself. I had them as a top 10 team in the preseason power rankings. A lot of people had them probably in the top 3, top 5, because they saw them as a legit Stanley Cup contender to finally knock off their crosstown rival, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And you look at this roster, and you look at the coaching, you look at everything that they've invested into this team. The Florida Panthers were going to make some noise this season as long as their goaltending did what they could do. And that was the big criticism for the Florida Panthers. The naysayers of the Panthers said, well, Sergei Bobrovsky in his first 2 seasons has not been great. He hasn't been able to be a legitimate backup even. I mean, he was just really bad. I mean, you look, that's why they brought up Chris Driedger last year. Injuries and his inability to play allowed for another goaltender to just come in and pretty much take his spot at the end of last season. Really, 2 goaltenders, Spencer Knight and Chris Driedger. And those talks, at some point would the Panthers buy out Bobrovsky of that massive contract they just signed a couple years ago? Well, good thing they gave it another year, because they start the season, they have a 5-4 victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins, who the Penguins look good in their prior game. They shut down the banner-raising ceremony in Tampa because they kind of stomped on the Lightning in the first game of the season. They come into Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh comes into Florida hoping for 2 wins. Didn't work that way. 5-4 win for the Panthers. They pick up a 5-1 victory over the Islanders, and that would be the turning point of the season for the Islanders so far. But they able to take advantage of the Islanders in that first week. And then they get a couple days off. They play Tampa, a 4-1 victory on their first game on the road. They stayed in state, though, against Tampa, so they're 3-0. They play the Colorado Avalanche. They go 4-0, a 4-1 victory over the Avalanche. That was a pretty big statement Thursday night game for the Panthers. And then they play the Philadelphia Flyers. They win that one on the road, 4-2. And then we see them at home again for another 2 games. You see them beat Arizona. And then things changed by the time Wednesday came around. They played the Boston Bruins. And this was the game where everybody, at Monday night, Tuesday, we started hearing about this. The Bruce Aldrich, the video coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, stuff started getting released about that situation, and just so happens the head coach of that team, the current head coach of the Florida Panthers, Joel Quenneville, was involved. Apparently there was some concrete information that he had turned a blind eye to the situation back in 2010. So he coached the game in Boston against Boston, a 4-1 victory, and then Thursday we saw the resignation, if you're going to be politically correct, the resignation of Joel Quenneville. And now the Florida Panthers, on a 7-game winning streak, all of a sudden are without their head coach. Which all of a sudden, a season that started off so great and blissfully has all of a sudden turned into turmoil, losing your head coach. And that's where we started to think. I made a video the other day in the power rankings. If the Florida Panthers can survive this weekend, this will be a huge moment for the Panthers. They would have 2 games on the road. Friday and Saturday night, a back-to-back, and then they would have 4 straight days off before playing the Washington Capitals at home. They would have a 2-game set this weekend at home. So as long as they could survive that back-to-back up on the East Coast, the Northeast, they would be okay. They won that game 3-2 against the Detroit Red Wings on the road. A well-fought, hard-fought game in Detroit. An overtime victory, an overtime win in that one. They would play Boston on the road. Obviously, it was, what's his name? Jimmy Hayes' kind of ceremony game. Obviously, he played for both the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers. And he grew up in Boston, so they obviously had, I think the Panthers had Broadway jerseys, and I don't remember what the the Bruins had, but they had a really, I think it was hazy Broadway jerseys for each of the sides, which was a really nice touch by both teams during warm-ups. But this was a big game for the Panthers, other than that, and this was a big contest for them. And they go to overtime. It's a 2-2 game in overtime, and they lose the game in overtime. This would be the first loss of the season for the Florida Panthers. Now, all hope is not lost. They are 8-0-1 right now. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-0-1. So through the first 9 games of the season, they have not lost a game. Remember, let me finish. They've not lost a game yet in regulation this season, which means they've picked up a point in all of their first 9 games to start the season. 8-0-1. Now they play 2 games at home. They're not going to be easy, though. They're Metropolitan Division opponents. Actually, their next 5 opponents are against the Metro, and that's not going to be easy because we've seen how good the Metro is this year. You host Washington and Carolina Thursday and Saturday, and then next week it's all on the road. You play the Rangers and the Devils in a back-to-back next week to start next week, Monday, Tuesday. Then you play Pittsburgh at PPG Paints Arena. It's not going to be easy next Thursday. Then they play Tampa Bay. Now, the good thing is, after that game in Tampa Bay, which is considered a road game, but they're still in the same state, they're within 3 or 4 hours from their home, they play 6 straight home... Actually, hold on. They play 4 straight home games. They play Washington the day after Thanksgiving. And then they play the rest of the month at home. So, after that Tampa game, the last 3 weeks, including the start of December, the next 3 weeks they have 1 road game in Washington, which is a 5 o'clock Black Friday game, which that will actually be a huge showdown for the Florida Panthers. Could be the biggest game of the month for them. So for this month, they have pretty much a week on the road up the northeast, and then that's it. And they stay pretty close to home. So as long as they survive those 2 games this weekend, which they more than halfway did, they picked up 3 of a possible 4 points. The Florida Panthers, now they have 4 days at home to rest, get used to this new coaching, this new voice behind the bench, buy into his message, and find a way to keep winning. And it's going to be huge the next 2 games as well, because you have Washington and Carolina, which are both at the top half of the Metropolitan Division. They're actually playoff teams, top 3 in that division. So this is going to be a big stretch here for the Panthers. If they can survive, this is their month to really put your foot on the gas, pedal to the metal, and find a way to get victories and just pick up points, because they can do that. Now, like I said, you got the Rangers and Devils and Pittsburgh, who all look lively, all look mortal, as well as Tampa. So that week of road games, they could still be able to win those games, even if they win 3 of those 4. And who knows what they do the rest of the month. I'm not saying they go undefeated this month, but the Florida Panthers, man, this is a great month for them to just build off of what they've done already. Now, they could just as easily lose that steam. They have a new coach. Maybe they don't buy into the message and things go, completely sideways. But what I've seen from the goaltending of Sergei Bobrovsky is a huge thing that has just turned this thing around in a quick time for Bobrovsky. A great offseason. He probably need that little bit of a kick in the ass. And all of a sudden, Bobrovsky is one of the best goaltenders in the league. You're looking at this team. You have Huberdeau, Barkov, and Ekblad leading the team in points. You have your third line, which has just been kind of insanely good. They put Sam Reinhart, took him off of Barkov's line early in the season. There was some talk, some little murmurs, and maybe that was a bad move. It seems to be working just fine. Reinhart, Lundell, and I always forget the other guy's name, Mason Marchment. I mean, Reinhardt's got 7 points right now. I mean, he's playing really well. Gustav Forsling has 7 points. Look how he has kind of developed in Florida as a defenseman. Duclair has 7 points. Bennett has 7 points. These were Verhaeghe, who was an AHL guy with the Islanders in Tampa. He's got 6 points. He's in the top 10 for points for the Panthers so far. This is really an incredible run for the Panthers, and if they could keep this up, more specifically the goaltending and the incredible scoring, the Cats have a real chance to do something. Now, the thing is, they were scoring at a clip that was almost impossible of a feat to continue. They were scoring 5 goals a game through the first 6 or 7 games of the season. That was impossible to keep up. You can't score 5 goals a game every game. But the goaltending was good enough where even despite not scoring 5 goals a game, they were still able to win a couple of games. They're gaining confidence, and this is a real team to really watch. I mean, you look at, Aaron Ekblad and Mackenzie Weegar. Ekblad's playing 25 minutes a night, per game, and Mackenzie Weegar is just under that. He's at a little over 24 minutes of ice time. It's incredible just seeing how this defense has turned. I mean, you look at the other guys, Forsling, Gudis. I mean, out of nowhere, these guys have just turned into, again, I'm almost speechless. I'm like, Mason Marchment, where did he come from? This is really a great story in Florida, and I just hope they keep it going. And like I said, it's not going to be easy. There's no easy schedule in the NHL, but I'm sure if a team could pick a schedule, this is pretty much as good as it could get for the Florida Panthers. And like I said, that game against the Washington Capitals, Washington and Florida, an old Southeast Division matchup. Some of my older hockey fans out there will remember the Southeast Conference, where it was the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Washington Capitals, the Carolina Hurricanes. It was a pretty interesting matchup, and obviously Atlanta was in that division, probably why that division went away. But yeah, I mean, and now you're looking at, the stats from Bobrovsky. Let's just go over that real quick. Also want to congratulate him. He just picked up his 300th NHL win. Congratulations there to Bobrovsky. He's already up to 303. He's just continuing to chug right along. He has a .944 save percentage this season, a 1.81 goals against average, really solid, and he has not lost a start yet. Knock on wood. He is 6-0 to start this campaign. And the 33-year-old goaltender, who we always say, once you hit 30 and you have a bad season, that's it. And the past 2 seasons, Bobrovsky has been awful. I mean, I'm sure Bobrovsky would agree with me on that. I'm not being too critical. I think that's a pretty, rational, fair statement. But Sergei Bobrovsky kind of defying the odds, and in year 3 of this contract, playing some of the best hockey, not only in Florida, but in his recent memory, in his career in the NHL. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Florida Panthers? What do you think their record will be at the end of November? Because right now, you look at that schedule, like I said, there's no easy games in the NHL, but this is a very enviable schedule for the Florida Panthers. The question is, can they capitalize on that and maybe not play down to the level of their opponent? Will they continue to get that scoring from the top 6 as well as that crazy good third line? I'm arguing the best third line in the NHL. Will that keep up? Or maybe will we see one of those things start to slip? The depth scoring kind of slips. Maybe the goaltending kind of slips a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.